Good morning. It is again a science humanity class. This week we discuss on Tuesday extending those topic. We would like to extend those topic into the different area titled the sign. Today's topic is sign to be used for our communication issue in a system. So through those the sign, with the sign that we can establish the platform as code we discussed on Tuesday. On Tuesday, with the example of BB to substitute the present sanitation system, so-called environment, into these types of platform to create the data to shake our present frame types of the systems controlled by big brother types of company, to generate big data to be used for their frame types of order to create another value out of value. So we call those, we define those as the Anthropocene types of era, where we can generate the value. But still we not sure we are generating data over to be used under control of the big brother types of that. That's why we extend those topic into sign, the new topic, for us to be the part of creating the scheme, creating a structure, or auto the governance types of the generating data to shake those existing frame. So against the big data, so-called. So that's the topic, data. So I'm not sure you are familiar with the sign. So we are using everyday based sign, but even though we do not have any robust sign definitions, but we're still using data the sign. Sign, because the sign has a very typical example in the language and tools in a market through the currency we are using in normal way. So that's the sign definitions. So I'm not sure that, but the sign has a vigor. So I a couple of times introduced these types of definition of vigor with a sign to contain the meaning. So we feel the vigor, the empty vigor, with the meaning to transfer to other persons for our communications. So we need a sign to transfer our meaning and intentions, aim to be included in an empty vigor, which is a sign to be transferred to other persons. Other persons accept those signs with the meaning, and they select. Sometimes reject it. So we call those in Korean 소통, in English communications. And then they understand those accepted after selections during communication to get at or to obtain knowledge based of concept, and then we can change our society through these types of the process of communications. Those we define the communication in a topic of a system as opposed to environment a long time ago in this semester. So the sign in that way has a vigor, right? Has also the connected object. So whenever you signify or bring a sign that we have in our mind during our communication object. So a sign is physically connected to the object. So at the end, we can interpret as a present structure. Sometimes we analyze, sometimes we interpret. So through this sign to be transferred from other persons into myself, and from myself to other persons, so that then we change our the system connected to directory or indirectory societies. So that's why we are living in the world. Okay, so that much sign is very important. So a typical example of the sign is once again alphabet. So alphabet is nothing but the vehicle, empty vehicle. So A, B, C, 기억, 니은, 디귿. So to compose certain words and to deliver meaning and to comprise, we make a sentence out of those alphabets. And then after communications, alphabet come back to the state of an empty vehicle and to be used again, over and over again. So another typical example is Kostak as index. So as an index, so Kostak is the sign. So stock market, when you visit the stock market, there is an index as the Kostak trend. So we can witness a trend of stock market's price through this Kostak. Okay, so with that, the Kostak is physically connected to trend of price of a stock. So the school grade. So after this, the class you can get the B, A, and A plus, and the D and C. So to represent your achievement through this class, and after graduation, you have the combined grades into a transcript. Transcript signify your capacity to achieve or complete your learning from the University of UNIST. So those grade and transcript are signs to represent what you achieve, when you are in terms of realities, what you have done during the school and college. So those are the signs as well. So we can witness a lot of traffic signal in the street. So those are the signs as well. And money is another example, typical example in addition to the alphabet, Kostak, and others. The sign has a different format. So according to the Charles Sanders Peirce, so American philosopher. So the first one is icon and index and symbol. Icon, index, and symbol are specific or special format of the sign. A sign, you can have an icon, sometimes you can have an index, sometimes you can have a symbol. So the between the sign and object, the sign directly and indirectly connected to object, right? So there are the first, the physical resemblance. The second, direct link to the physical reality. Third, there is no logical connection but agreed rule. So we promise that is as it is. So typically the first example of a sign as a physical resemblance. So please look at the first typical example of a photograph and cartoon. So we have a photograph of yours, photograph of mine. So that photograph is icon types of a sign of yourself or myself. That's the icon. If you take a picture of the UNIST building, that photo is icon of the UNIST. If you take a picture of the horse, some specific horse, a typical horse, so that photo can be icon types of a sign to horse in general. Okay, because they have resemblance, a similar appearance between sign and object. And please look at the second typical example as the between smoke and fire. So if you look at the certain the sign with the smoke, then we can imagine there might be a fire in the forest, fire in the building, fire in your mind, in our spirit. So the smoke can be sign in the format of what? Index. Why index as opposed to icon? There is a direct link to the physical reality. This is a typical example of index, the physical connections. Okay, physical connections give us the index type of sign. And please look at the third example. National flag like a 태극기, national flag of United States, national flag of Turkey, national flag of Myanmar. So there is no resemblance between a sign and a physical object. There is no connections, physical connections to physical reality between sign and object. If you show the national flag of Korea named 태극기 to the person who never seen that, so he or she never understand that is a flag of Korea, right? But we promise this is a Korean flag. So we promise or we agree to accept those flag to be a national flag of Korea. Based on rule, based on agreement, based on the law, sometimes based on customs, traditional customs, whatever that is, that's the symbol. Okay, so I'm not sure why the linguist, the specially peers types of scholar categorizing into this one. So we get that. We'll get that in a second. So why we better categorize these types of sign into three different one to be used to make appropriate data through our platform as code, to be against the big data, to be independent from big brother types of company. That's the goal. Why we are discussing about the sign, to be against the big data. Otherwise, we always going to be controlled by big data. Under the Anthropocene, we discussed already 2 weeks ago, right? So please look at next examples. There are a couple of examples. The Korean Red Cross, the fire warning, museum mark, under constructions, intersections, fire warning as well. So the last example is a Chinese letter. So can you tell me what the specific the sign is, either icon, index, symbol? Can you tell me from the different stores based on our definitions of the different format between icon, index, symbol? Please look at the first one, Korean Red Cross. Korean Red Cross. Is it icon, index, or symbol? Icon, index, symbol. What do you think? It is? Okay. Please look at the second examples. So forest fire warning. Forest fire warning. Is it icon, index, and symbol? How about the museum? Why? Why it is icon or index and symbol? Based on our definitions. From our how we differentiate those signs. So through physical resemblance, direct link to the physical reality, and based on agreed rule. Okay, how about under construction? How about the intersection of roads, the fire warning as well, and Chinese letter? Please look at those one. Okay, the first Korean Red Cross. It is a symbol. Why? Why symbol? We promise, we agree. Red Cross correspond to Red Cross institution. Red Cross institution. Nobody know that. If you show this one to the baby who never seen these types of sign, okay, they don't know what they mean by this sign. So it is a symbol because we agree, right? We agree. Please look at this second one, the forest fire warning. Fire could be icon, could be icon. Why? This sign has physical resemblance to real fire, right? So looks like it, like a photo, like a cartoon. And please look at the forest. Three trees means the forest, maybe, okay, because we promised that. Or those looks like a forest and woods. So icon as well as a symbol. So we promise that, or we agree those symbol to be used as represented and shown as a forest. So we promise that based on our agreement. So those are symbols. But looks like woods, looks like a forest. Based on that, it is icon, right? It is icon because the physical connection to those forests connected to fire to tell us warning, a warning of the fire with the danger. Please look at the last one with the museum. So this is an icon. Why? This museum looks like a museum. Looks like a museum. This marker looks like a museum. That's why this one is icon. What could be your icon? Okay, can you give me your icon? You can give me your photo. You can give me your the cartoon you draw. Okay, you can give me your characteristic shape or any object or the product or anything that you'd like to show yourself through resemblance. Those can be icon. So the letter is a symbol. So please look at under construction the sign. So this one is icon because the man working with his shovel looks like what? Looks like construction. So that's the icon. So please look at the triangle sign in red. Triangle sign in red. That's the symbol. So nobody knows it is from the beginning, warning. We don't know any connection between this sign and the warning, but we promise it to be used with that situation. Okay, so warning sign and intersections, roads intersection that looks like real roads to be intersected each other. That's the index. Please look at the last one. As opposed to the previous one, this one is they used match to represent the fire, right? The fire. That's the icon. Okay, if you scratch the match, it causes fire. That's why we use this sign as icon to represent the fire on the mountain. On the mountain, mountain is a symbol. So mountain. So it looks like a mountain. With that, we can call this one as the icon, but generally symbol. Okay, generally symbol to be used based on our agreement and promise. Okay, please look at the Chinese letter. Okay, I'm not sure this is Chinese letter and Korean letter a long time ago, but it's so controversial. So I have to be I think I have to be very careful about this one. Anyway, this letter is icon because these letters come from shape of the real object. They have a resemblance in shape. So ideogram, and the mountain and the stream. Mountain and stream looks like a real object of this one. But as opposed to these types of a letter from China and Korea and Oriental letter, how about the Korean alphabet and English alphabet? Is it icon or different one? It's a different one. Those and Korean alphabet and English alphabet and Latin as well are symbol, right? So if you look at A, B, C, can you guess what those are from? No, we don't know. But we promise to accept those ones to be used for our composing words, sentence, and paragraph and story. Okay. So those are symbols. Those are symbols. But Korean letters looks like our shape of a mouth. It's a different ways to make those alphabet, but different story. But basically, we are symbol types of a sign with the Korean alphabet. Okay, so please look at these examples. So this work is drawn by René Magritte, the French artist. So please look at this sentence with this drawing. This looks like a pipe, right? Looks like a pipe. And with the letter, ce n'est pas un pipe, means this is not a pipe. This is not a pipe. With this work by René Magritte, give your interpretation using sign. Using icon, using index, using a symbol. Please explain this artistic work. Please, in your smart topic of May 13 with the topic of sign. Please. Okay, that's the message from René Magritte. So he painted the first time the pipe as icon, right? The piper looks like a pipe, real pipe, but with the sentence ce n'est pas un pipe, this is not a pipe, he would like to tell us the signs are different from reality, sometimes in different view, different angle, different aspect. Sometimes we have to recognize the painting or illusion or hallucination, imagination is not real, but connected to physically based on resemblance and a lot of things we can make a story out of this one, even artistic, even philosophical way, the metaphysics as well. So science exactly same. So even if we have data from market, from experiment with cutting edge technology of instrument like microscope, the PCR with the DNA, but sometimes we show that as a icon, as an index. So somebody would like to show in hidden way through symbolic way as well. Science. So sometimes we have to understand those scientific consequences out of experiment from lab, and then we have to understand what they are giving us, what they are trying to providing us with a certain aim. So especially with the big data, under the condition of the Anthropocene, so every time so we got image, we got the scientific fact, truth. scientific understanding out of publication papers, but we have to know what could be the behind those as a hidden sign from the provider, from governance, from the government, from professional system, from the company. So I think that's the message from artist René Magritte, French artist. You understand what I'm saying? So this is my personal interpretation. So you have a different one, of course, but we are now studying or discussing both science and humanities. But humanities is not different from humanities. Humanities is not different from science. They cannot be separate each other. That's the way we would like to understand the science and humanity, engineering, business, and scientific way. Okay. So please look at the second one. This is standard money. Out of a pool, we discussed on Tuesday, certain value out of it through saving water, generating bioenergy, making compost from poo and the pee as well. That's why we have the value out of it. So we have these types of sign. Please explain this sign using either icon, index, and the symbol. Please, this one the participation too in your the Street Smart topic of May 13 and sign. Okay, please look at this one. So I think the physics standard money is a currency we invented. I proposed in H Foundation, and we published this one as well. Thank you, 백승호 and 공기범. And so the symbol, please look at the symbol of a 꿀 is a unit of a currency of a physics standard money. So like a dollar, like a won, like a yuan. So we agree those symbol as a sign to be used as a unit of the physics standard money, 10 gur, 100 gur, and 20 gur. Please look at the coin. Coin looks like money, the real money. That's the icon. The physical resemblance, physical resemblance. And between currency, the money currency, and real poo, there are index because of physical connection to the sign and real one, which is poo. Okay, please look at the last one. This is the icon because this sign looks like poo. That's the physical resemblance. So that's the sign definitions. Okay. Please look at next example. Can you imagine what that is? It's a Big Dipper, right? At night, if you look up to see the star at the north direction, so there is the Big Dipper. So 7, the star, looks like it. And then we put Walden into it. Please, what correspond to this science too, in terms of a sign, icon or index or symbol? What do you think? Looks like a Big Dipper. That's the icon, right? The physical resemblance. But we put the letter of alphabet English, those are symbol as well. So icon and symbol. And we put the Walden with the spirit and the philosophy of Henry David Thoreau into this deeper types of a scoop. This is an index because we put the physical connection to real world, real shape of the cube. So that's we use the sign through index. So we define those as index. So so we made this the symbol of a ScienceWalden Center using icon, a symbol, and index as well. So if you would like to make a certain symbol, emblem, and sign of the specific company, specific organization, specific country, and yourself even, then you can use these types of different definition of sign in terms of icon, index, and symbol in text, right? If you are designer engineering, even though you are not, so you may encounter the project to design these types of data to represent your characteristic as opposed to other with the identity. Okay, so it may help you to design these types of the sign through different approach of icon, index, and symbol based on our definitions. Okay, it is. So meaning of a sign. The sign has a meaning. Why we are discussing about the sign, once again, we would like to generate the data out of this sign, This is not design class. This is not the semiotic class or philosophy class. So we are discussing the sign to generate our own data to be against the big data. That's why. So please look at the examples. So we already discussed alphabet, through alphabet, language, and money. So for example, the word book means a book, right? Book means a book by agreement. Nobody knows. When you say a words of a book to newborn baby, they don't know what book mean, right? So alphabet, letter B, O, K, combine those one, we have a book. We know finally to be connected to real book. So that's the symbol types of a sign. And $3, for example, with the currency, paper, money, the price is a cup of coffee at the cafe, Starbucks, and whatever that is, then $3 has a meaning. $3 has a meaning. Why not $2 and $4? So we call this one arbitrary, randomly selected words and price of money. Even though language and money are sign of those, itself we put the specific randomly collected arbitrary meaning into that. Okay, but more importantly, meaning of signs, they come from relation of the sign and other sign around it. What do you mean by that? If you select the book words, book itself is not that much important. Book is a book. That's the only signal, only sign to represent between sign of a book to real book. That's it. But the book words surrounded by certain people, certain circumstances, the certain conditions, a certain aim. So for example, the people read the book to be the successful in accepting a story from the Greek history under different situations to understand the religion and whatever that is. The people read the book to understand the philosophy of Kant. People read the scientific book to understand the science, from Copernicus and the Newtons. Those sentences has a meaning, real meaning, not arbitrary, with the meaning of surrounding other sign as well. So we can compose a sentence, a paragraph, and story. Combining signs make a real meaning. Okay, that's the sign for to us to make a data to be against the other things. You understand that? Market economy with a combination relation of various price. The price is set. One coffee corresponds to the price of $3. That's the arbitrary. Okay. One store of a cafe, so designates a specific price for their Americano. Okay, that's the arbitrary. There's very little meaning, but if we combine every other prices of the book, of a car, or a service of a labor charge, everything being combined with these types of the prices, for example, coffee, we can make a market, we can make an economy in Korea, global in market, right? We can make a finally meaning a lot of data out of this the story, market, economic situation from stock market, for example, and coffee shop and university, and so on and so forth. Okay. Starting from one single sign with arbitrary meaning, randomly selected, combining those situations with a specific sign with a meaning into a word, we finally have a meaningful word. Okay, so that's I'd like to tell you why we have to use the newly designed sign to generate our own data, to bring another order with a different meaning against the big data generated by frame provided by Google, for example. The Bitcoin as a sign. Okay, Bitcoin is money and currency. So also the figure to be able to contain the meaning, we can define those as a sign. Its meaning comes from relation of it and other money as well. If you have a Bitcoin in isolated island, 무인도, it's arbitrary meaning, right? It is not give us a lot of different meaning to be combined with other things. If you are solely exist in that island, but if you bring the Bitcoin in a market of a capital, it's a meaning of a Bitcoin right now. The value of those comes from relation to other dollar, other stock, right? So those are things. Whatever we can be against the big data and the Bitcoin and other values. Okay, that's the message from me. So we are human right now. So all arbitrary. You are valuable, of course, because you are human. But your value, your labor value, your being, existence are arbitrary. If you are existing independently, still you are valuable, but not actually as a whole. But individual has a relationships with other individuals to make the huge, indefinite meanings. And human being with other animal even, and the living organisms, then we compose universe, the so-called ecology. So please look at the market. Please look at the democracy, politics world. If you look at the other words, okay, and then we are maintaining relationship with the other persons with a different arbitrary meaning as well. So we exchange the sign, right, to communicate each other, and then we compose our own universe as an ecology to bring a lot of the valuable, meaningful data into our relationships. But we have to use a sign. We have to use words. We have to use money. We have to use certain signals, a lot of things. But if we only use the sign from the Google, for example, if you only use the sign provided by the Google and the government, for examples, and authorities, if universe and University of UNIST give you a specific sign to be used in with this class, for example, they provide the format to be followed in forceful way. We follow those guidelines, and then we only generating data to be used by them, but not by us, not between us. That's why I propose. It is very difficult. I understand that it is difficult to generating data format newly with a new sign to generate our own data, to finally to be against the frame types of a present order. Okay, that's my goal. Please look at the next examples. We have a dirt and waste plastic. We have a waste of food. We have a waste of certain things, disposable one. But keep in mind, where there is dirt, there is a system. Where there is dirt, there is a system. In reverse order of these words, if there is a system, there is a word. There is waste and dirt. In other words, there is no system, there is no dirt and waste. For example, education system, university systems. If there is a university system, if there is an education system, if there is an entrance examination system, there is a winner and loser, right? With the ranking. Without entrance examination system, Suneung, if there is no system of entrance examination and Suneung, there is no ranking at all. I'm not arguing we don't need those types of entrance examination with justice, but basically we have to understand if there is a system, there is a loser. If there is a system, there is a waste. And war, okay, if you take an example of a war as a system, there is a victory or defeat, right? There is no war, there is no victory at all. There is a system with the disposable, especially delivery, 택배. There is a waste of a plastic, right? There's plastic. If there is a sanitation system, if there is a sanitation system with a flushing toilet and wastewater treatment plant, now we rely on, we depend on, there is wastewater, there is a poo, there is a pee as a waste. There is no sanitation system. There is no waste at all. Okay, that's my point. So a system is that much important. What's the reaction? What's the solution to minimize waste and dirt in order to remove a possibility to have a loser from the system? What could be our reaction? What could be our tactic? What could be our solution to that? there is a system of energy. We have climate change crisis, climate change consequences right now. To remove a risky situation, risky consequence of climate, how we change our system to remove a system or to switch the system into others. So I'm not talking about reuse of waste. So this is a minimum strategies to minimize the waste, but remove waste itself by switching system. Okay, there are two different ways to remove or minimize waste, so we can bring another technology to reuse those waste into the different resources. But the secondary, more importantly, but still very difficult, by switching system into a new, then we can remove waste itself totally. Okay, so please look at the sanitation system we already discussed on Tuesday. We have a wastewater and flushing toilet systems. We have a waste, and then we reuse those waste waste into to make a composting out of those waste. But if we switch those sanitation system into different one, from my example, called the BB system, there is no waste at all. Okay, so it's up to you. Either selecting reusable system after accepting the present sanitation system as a system as it is, or selecting or switching those sanitation systems into new, finally we can remove any possibility of making waste at all. Okay, that's my proposal. So system is comprised of communication. There is no system, there is no dirt. But the system comprised of communication. Communication starts with what? Informations. We have information, then we can communicate. Information is made of meaning out of a relation of a sign we discussed today. So system through sign. So if you change sign appropriate in a scientific and appropriate way to switch those system with respect to communication, then we can remove a possibility to make any waste and dirt any loser. So that's why I propose you to create a new sign to switch a system of education, system of economic, system of sanitation, system of energy, and so on and so forth. That's my message from this topic of a system with a sign. Okay, so you have, this is another practice. You have 23 pictures. Please, 6 pictures, 23 pictures. And out of 23 photos, select only 4 photos and make a story with a sentence and upload your sentence and photo selected at the topic of the Street Smart today. Until Tuesday, until today, only as a PDF file. This is participation 3 as well as a third assignment. So you already submitted 2 different assignments in early stage of this semester, right? But so today, out of 23 photos, you select how many? 4 photos, and to make a sentence with your meaning, with your interpretation, like this. So I selected 4 to make this sentence. So with your title, with your name and student's ID and email ID, and upload at the strict smart. Today's topic, May 13, until today, only as PDF file. Understand that.